Would you still like to be riding your bike well into your 70s? Riding next to me is David. He's 75 years of age. They say we can all learn from the wisdom that comes with age, so here's a nice little interview I had the privilege of doing with David recently. I'm with David today. David's 75 years of age, lives in a retirement village with his wife, and watches TV and does jigsaw puzzles every day, isn't that right?
Not the slightest, yeah. Watch TV, sure. Live in a retirement village, but nowhere in the world do we do jigsaw puzzles. I go out cycling 3 times a week. On a Tuesday morning, I go out with some guys, and they're pretty kind to me. They stop and have a coffee after about 40k, and return home about 40k, and they all go like a shower of you know what until they get home. And on a Thursday, I get sick of looking at people's back wheels, so I take this guy out who's a visually impaired, and I sit on the front, he sits on the back for obvious reasons, and we just have a nice leisurely ride around Victor Harbour, Port Elliot. We do somewhere between 20, 50k a week, or 50k a ride, and I enjoy it. I can look around and we stop and have a coffee. Then a Sunday morning we go out and we start about 8 o'clock in the morning and we go and do about 80k. No rest this time, 80k, charging along as fast as we can go. We get back and then we have a coffee and we have some cake and have a chat, and then I go home. And I don't go home and play jigsaw puzzles or have a rest or have a lie down, though I sometimes think I should do. Cut.
There you go, 150 k's a week, 200 k's a week.
That's
very
about right.
Good. Yeah.
That's about right, yeah. You're asking me about racing. Do I ever go racing?
Yeah, do you still race? Do you like to?
Yeah, I do.
Vets?
I used to go racing when I was younger, and somebody suggested, why don't you take it on now you're a bit older? So there's a vets organisation, and it's graded as to your ability. But if there's a race coming up that I'm really interested in, I'll put some extra kilometres in, and I have a training regime which works well for me. I go up a hill about 1 kilometre long, as fast as I can go, turn around, go back down again. I do that about 10 times, every time I'm stuffed. Then go for a nice leisurely ride, and it has to be leisurely, go for a nice leisurely ride home, and that gives me quite an edge actually, and I do very well.
Ah. Hill repeats.
Hill repeats, yeah. Is that what they're called?
I don't know, I think that's what they call it.
Torturous hill repeats.
I keep hearing ones like Andrew, he says, hill repeats, oh, hill repeats. What is it they do now? Everesting. Everesting?
Everesting, yeah, probably.
That's like climbing Crow's Nest 22 times or something. That's ridiculous.
No, I think it's like climbing Crow's Nest about 30 odd times.
30 times?
And you have to do it within 24 hours or something, or 12 hours.
We've got a hill here, it's called Crow's Nest. It was in the Tour Down Under this year, 2016. Crow's Nest Road, stage 5, and the pros rode up it. We ride up it quite regularly in our training rides. It would be 5k's long, 6,
yeah, 5K
something
long.
like that. Takes us about 15 to 18 minutes to get up to the top.
Yeah.
So imagine doing that 30 times. Mind-numbing, I think.
I agree with you. I agree with you. No sense.
Yeah, I'd rather get the bike riding, enjoy it, get it over and done with, and go home.
Yeah, absolutely.
So what got you in to riding a bicycle?
Well, it's quite simple. My father inherited a bike from an American who went back to America after the Second World War, and he left a bicycle behind. He cleaned it up, and it was shared between me, my brother and my father. And I used to get home from school early, jump on the bike before anybody else could, and go out riding, because it increased my horizon. Instead of being as far as I could walk, which is a mile or 2 around home, I could ride for 5 or 10 miles. And there are all these places to find and explore and look at and discover for the first time. It was a sort of freedom. I could get away from being told what to do, when to do it, or which way to go, or anything else. and I think that stayed with me. I like to go and wander and get lost. I don't get quite so lost these days, but I wonder what's round there, what's round here, and just enjoy myself.
There you go. Curiosity.
Yeah, curiosity, and it hasn't killed the cat yet.
Hasn't killed the cat yet. But definitely enjoyable. I think that's part of human nature, the exploratory part of human nature, to want to explore things as well. Especially as a child, and as children always want to find out what's around the corner, what's this, what's that. And as adults, we tend to lose a lot, but bike riding helps us to retain that.
Yeah.
I don't know, does that sound sort of right?
I think that's absolutely right. You get so restricted. You're told, do this, do that, do the other. You get on your bike and you do what the hell you like. And you can explore and you can get a little bit lost occasionally, and you can take your bike with you when you go away on holiday, and you can just go and find out things, and it really doesn't matter if you get lost. You're never really that lost that you're absolutely lost. But from there I joined the club, and I used to go touring, and then I got into racing and I enjoyed that. But then there was girls and booze, and then there was family and children, and I was restricted really to cycling to work and back. And it's only when I retired that I thought I met a group of guys who go cycling, and I thought I'll take it up again, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I think it does me absolute wonders, honestly. It keeps me thinking, keeps me involved with people outside a retirement village, and yeah, I just look forward to my rides every week. I'm not sure, they go so damn fast at times, and I think, why am I out here doing this? I always rock up next week, so I must enjoy it.
What I say, the pleasure and the pain, something like that?
Something like that, yeah.
Agony and the ecstasy? Or,
No. Why am I doing this?
Why am I doing this? Why am I here? Why am I just holding on? And at the end of the ride, when you thoroughly had it, you still say, that was a good ride.
Well,
most of the time.
I went to the doctor's when I first moved into this area, and he was going to look at a 70-year-old male, and I walked into the door and he thought he got the wrong customer, because they're fat. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. They could be a little bit overweight, completely unfit, gasping for breath on tablets and this, that, the other. And it was me. I'm tall, I'm slim, I'm not on any tablets. And I think I'm relatively alive. Relatively.
Yeah, definitely.
So, and I ascribe a lot of that down to being fit, active, and you can get that from walking, cycling or whatever, but fitness and looking after your body gives yourself the best chance.
Yeah, absolutely. There you go. One way to keep out of the doctor's studios.
Yeah.
So riding is still fun for you?
Absolutely, yeah. It's still fun.
Still fun.
As I said earlier, I sometimes wonder when I'm chasing and trying to keep up with all these young blokes, climbing up a hill, and I think, oh, just a bit longer, just hold on to the end, then you can freewheel down the other side and have a bit of a rest. But I do enjoy it. I probably enjoy it more when I go out by myself, because I can choose how far I want to go and how soft or easy or anything else. I can choose where I want to go and scratch myself and so on. But they are dangerous. When you ride with a group of guys, somebody may touch a wheel and cause a problem. And I must admit, I've had one or two crashes. I had one a few months ago. That's another issue though, that everybody remarked how quickly I had healed. To me, I just healed, and I said, well, what do you mean? And he said, well, you're about 2 weeks, 3 weeks ahead of what we would expect you to. Yeah. I had a few stitches in the head. See? They
Where?
They did a good job. They did an excellent job, actually, you wouldn't know. I lost a lot of skin, which repairs itself. But the issue was that I was fine. Whereas if an old, I shouldn't say older, because I guess I'm old. If somebody wasn't physically well fell over, they may have trouble getting back up and have a great trouble recovering and getting over it. I was back on my bike within a week and pushing myself quite hard after 2 weeks. So, and I think that's because I'm relatively fit.
So Dave, you went on a holiday. You went to England.
Well, England and Europe actually, yeah.
England, Europe for 6 weeks.
Yep.
And did you ride your bike during that time?
Oh, a little bit, rode it. We went on a cruise and they had bikes so you could hop off and go for a cruise. Other people went touring and looking at things, and occasionally I just go on the bike and get lost.
Oh.
I knew the river was that way and the mountains are that way, so you couldn't get too lost. And go and have a beer and so on. So yeah, I enjoyed it. Didn't do much cycling though. When I came back, there was
No intensive cycling.
no
Not
intensive
like you do
cycling.
here.
No, I was
Proper
behind
cycling.
the 8 ball.
Right, so when you came back and you went to see the doctor,
Yeah.
and you said you couldn't keep up with the young ones because, and the doctor looked at you and said, David, you're 74.
That sounds right. That's not quite true because I should keep up with them. That's my opinion anyway. That's my
A
opinion.
lot younger, by the way, than 74.
But what happened, I've been giving some blood to the blood bank and I've not been making it up. And I expect I should be able to keep up with these guys because even though they're younger, they're pretty pathetic. And what happens, my body wasn't making up the iron content. Don't laugh. My body wasn't making up the iron content in the blood, so I was oxygen deprived and I couldn't keep up. So the answer is liver. Don't take tablets. So I took I ate a small serving of liver twice a week to get some iron in my blood, and after about 6 weeks it was like a light switched on. I was back. I went out for a ride and I thought, we got to the top of the hill and I was fine. I thought, wow, that's what it felt like. That's how it should be. I was concerned that I'd lost the edge, the old age had caught up. And liver saved me, so there you go, good recipe, eat plenty of liver. Now I have 1 serve a week, not a big serve, just a bit, and that just keeps me ticking over. I can give my blood to the blood bank, and I can keep up with these guys, and I guess it does me some good.
Yep. So iron levels, red
Iron
blood
levels.
cell count.
Very important, something to do with transporting oxygen around your body.
Yep. Yep.
Uh,
Well, that's what, EPO.
I don't know, I don't take EPO.
Yeah, erythropoietin or something like that for the doping. It increases your red blood cell count, but effectively B12 has an effect on your red blood cell count, increases it as well. So it's probably
Okay.
what you've experienced
Okay,
from iron. There you go, lessons to be learnt in everything.
well, never stop learning.
Never stop learning. In fact, I've got to learn what the next question is. Winter time. Do you like riding in winter? Winter time. We get winter 3 to 4 months a year here, and it's wet and pretty miserable, especially for Australians. So
No, they've got no idea. I was brought up, you can probably tell by my accent, I was brought up in Britain, and we went riding in winter in snow and sleet and ice. It was interesting going to work in the mornings. You would suddenly change from a wet road to an icy road, and you wouldn't tell because it was dark, and the only way you would turn is when you went round the corner and found yourself sitting on the road or you'd be sliding. But I can remember once we went out for a ride on a Sunday when I was younger, and the road was sort of a little bit wet, like wet snow with real rut marks in it and so on, and we stopped off at a cafe and had a coffee or a tea. We didn't drink coffee in those days, it was tea. And we came out an hour later, it had all frozen. So these wheel ruts in the snow were now rigid.
Ah.
So you had to ride along very, very carefully. You had toe clips in those days. Your feet were outside the toe clips, ready to put your feet down. And instead of getting home in half an hour, it was about an hour and a half later before we got home. I remember that vividly. Didn't do that again.
So what about winter here? Do you stay indoors and don't ride, or do you
Oh, no,
ride a trainer in front of a television? Or?
nowhere in the world. No, I go out and ride. Being retired, you can go out when you choose. And if the weather looks a bit iffy, you can still go out. But if it's really bad, you can say, no, this is silly. And next day's improved because the winters here aren't that bad at all.
Yeah.
So within a week, I can get plenty K's in without too much trouble. It's nicer in the spring and the autumn where it's not quite so hot and the sun's shining. That's probably the best times, but and I get sick of taking clothes and then the sun comes out and you have to take your clothes off and then you put them back on again, and what do you do with them when you're not wearing them? Where do you put them?
Yeah.
But those are just little things, you know. The big things in life is, hey, I'm out on my bike, I'm riding, I'm fit and I'm healthy and I'm enjoying myself. That's the big things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember riding the other day and one of the riders saying, I've got 2 sets of arm warmers, I've got some gloves and I've got this and that, and he was, by the time he got to the top of the hill, it was so hot, he was taking all this gear off and it didn't fit in his back pocket.
No, that's right. That's right.
But like you said, that's the minor thing. We're on the bike.
We're on the bike, we're out there enjoying ourselves, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
But David, what keeps you motivated after all these years? Instead of just going out in the garden, pulling out a weed and then getting puffed out?
Well, there's a sort of expectation. You go to a retirement village and you don't really do much but pull weeds up and prune roses. And it's hard to explain, but there's a mental strengthness, mental strength that once you stop doing things, you take the easy way out, it's on the way down the hill. So you have to keep pushing yourself, like learning new things, doing new things, and pushing yourself to keep physically fit and active. People say you shouldn't be doing that at your age.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think, no, I bloody well should be doing things at that age. And I keep going, okay, you can't do now what I did when I was 20, but I can still do a lot of things. And when I'm fighting and struggling to keep up with guys, it means that my whole life I'm fighting, I'm struggling, I'm trying to achieve things. And once I let that motivation go, I'm go. Now, I believe if I don't keep my body fit, my brain won't be fit. And the body falls over and the brain will follow it. The brain's carried by the body. So when the body goes, what happens to me? I'm sat in front of a television. No thank you, at all. There are some people in here who take the easy option, but it's certainly not me.
Yeah, there you go. Got to keep your body moving, keep your brain active.
And I think you've got to keep that, some sort of incentive to keep on trying and pushing yourself. Don't kill yourself. You do learn when you say, no, these guys are younger than me, I'm going to back off now. But I usually do that at KSO before we're going to have a coffee, because I know they're not going to go anywhere. I'm going to catch them up anyway. And I can have a nice break.
Yeah, yeah. I'll remember that when you're riding next time. When he takes off, I'll often be riding on a hill and I see this shadow creeping up on the side of my eye line here, and I'm going, it's David again, here he goes. I better put on the gas a bit more. So when we get older, we shrink. Do we shrink? Do we get shorter in size, smaller in stature? A lot of people tend to be shrinking. Is that true? You shrink when you get older, height-wise?
Yeah, you lose a lot of stuff out of your bones. I'm not sure how much. The discs and all that wear away and you shrink.
So have you found you're shrinking?
Yeah, I've lost probably about 2 inches. I used to be 1.8 metres, 6 feet tall. Now I'm down to about 5'9", whatever that is. You don't notice it. You just find that your grandchildren seem to be enormous. Look, well, they are enormous. I was 6 foot as a kid, and I was one of the tallest in the class. But now my grandchildren are 6'2", 6'3", 6'4".
Oh, they get it from your side.
They're enormous. So I get a sore neck looking up at them. So one of the tricks is you put your hands behind your head so that restricts your head a little bit and takes the weight of your head so you don't get a sore neck.
Become the grandkids.
Got a little bit of fun.
Yeah. What else can we ask David? Would you like to ask David a question? You can do so. Put in the comments below. And I'll let David know as well. And I'm sure he'll read the comments. And we can definitely get back to you on that.
Yeah.
What else can we ask?
Just to finish off, your health we said before, a little bit light-heartedly, that your body carries your brain around. And if at some stage in your life you don't look after your body, you possibly pay for it for the rest of your life. People who have smoked and given up 20 or 30 years ago are still paying for it. You can't overcome accidents, you can't overcome bad illnesses, but you can do the best you can and look after your body. And it pays, because I've had 20 years of a bloody good retirement, and I'm still going, and I intend to go on for as long as I possibly can, and that's wonderful. The alternative is to be sat in a chair in a nursing home, watching television and doing jigsaw puzzles. I think that says everything. Good night.
And it's good night from me, and it's good night from him. Are we allowed to use that line?